All right, guys, as you guys know, recently Shimano just released a brand new version of the Stella. I just got my hands on one. After this short intro, we're going to break down what my first opinion about this reel is, as well as the new technology you're going to see in this brand new Stella FK. After this short intro, we're going to dive right in.
That's a life of a fisherman you wouldn't understand, something you can't feel on dry land. You gotta get your arms way up in a cave and set the hook on smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. You gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a G-loom that's right. I bet you like what you feel. Step on the deck, give it a whirl. Hello, welcome to my world.
Guys, if you're watching this video, you know all about the Shimano Stella. So we've come to know the FJ, released in 2018, and since then we haven't seen a lot of improvement on the Stella. As we all know, that Shimano is a trickle-down company, and we're seeing a lot of technology that was in that FK get ported down into lower-end, lower price point Shimano reels. For example, the long stroke spool, we're getting micro module 2 gearing and lower stuff like the Vanford, and it was time, in my opinion, for Shimano to really step up their game on the actual Stella. So as you can tell, I do have my hands on the very first one that I know of in my area. This is actually a sales sample from Shimano, so this is not my reel, but I did get my opportunity today working at the Tackle Box Open House to get my hands on this reel, as well as another reel I'm doing a video on next. So the Stella, what makes this the Lamborghini of fishing reels, in my opinion, especially on the spinning side of things? First and foremost, you're getting a ton of technology in this reel, but now there's 6 new technologies that are in this reel that I want to talk about just a little bit to give you guys an idea, and then I'm going to give you my absolute opinion, bare bones, what I think about this reel, having my hands on this all day. First and foremost, to come out brand new with this is what's known as Infinity Cross. Infinity Cross is the gear, the way the gears are designed. If you look at the old 2018 Stella, what happens is when the gears actually mesh, they were doing a lot of specking of those gears and found out that the gears were actually causing hot spots in the center of the gears, which was causing friction, was also causing the reel to not be as smooth as it actually could be. So now they've redesigned the pitch and angle of these gears, you know, the drive gear and the pinion gear, to be able to mesh a lot smoother. So there's a more of a parabolic friction plate or friction area on this reel. So again, it makes it a lot smoother. Again, that's known as Infinity Cross. Again, that's the redesign of the gears. I'm not going to get into a ton of technology here about this stuff. If you guys are interested in hearing a lot more about this stuff, I advise you to go over and check out JP DeRosa's page. He does a great job talking about the technology of this reel. But next thing we're going to be talking about again is that the next thing in the technology is going to be the Infinity Loop. So with Shimano, we've had that long stroke spool for a long time, but this modulation of the actual Stella spool is the slowest that it's ever been, going up and down. And what that does is it causes the line to lay right next to each other all the way up and down, so there's no cross hatching of the line. It doesn't lay over itself at all. And what that's going to do, it's going to allow you to cast farther because there's no friction on the line. So again, as you're casting, it comes off right side by side. It also allows that loop to be just a constant loop coming off the reel, as opposed to having to fight itself to get off the reel. Again, known as Infinity Loop. The next thing is Infinity Drive, and this is one of the things I'm super pumped up about, because I'm more intrigued about this than pretty much anything else on here, because this Infinity Drive system is also being added to the new Bantam, which I'm going to be doing a video on here just shortly, so it'll be coming up after this. But the Infinity Drive system is a new edition of X-Ship, basically. So X-Ship, basically, you had the main gear, or the main gear. So you had the drive gear, who would make contact with the pinion gear. So the pinion gear is in X-Ship. It is actually, in most spinning reels, it has a bearing on top and bottom. So when you're fighting those fish, the torsion or the torque of the reel doesn't give you any. It doesn't hurt your fight any. It doesn't allow that reel to torque in any direction. Well, Shimano's actually upped that game with a new Infinity drive. So basically, they've put a new pinion gear, so the actual the pinion gear goes up through another gear exactly all the way through it. There's also inside there's a bushing that allows the spool to spin, or the main shaft to spin a lot more freely, and it actually takes less effort to get the thing spinning. There's also a new coating inside that bushing that allows, again, less friction and stuff. So that's going to be Infinity drive. Again, instead of having the main shaft actually, it actually being supported, on the top and bottom, it's actually supported all the way through the center of that pinion gear, which is crazy to think about. Again, something new. And I can tell you, I actually own one of the original Stella, or the 2018 Stellas, and I could tell you that this thing it's hard to believe, but it feels way smoother than the other, and I'm sure that comes down to the Infinity drive system. Next thing, you guys are not going to be able to see. You guys can check it out on Shimano's website, or again, JP DeRose's video, but it's the anti-twist fin. Inside, right underneath the roller guide here, there's a polymer, basically a plastic or a really hard rubber piece called the anti-twist fin. And what that's going to do, it's going to allow, if you're sitting there slack-lined and you're finesse fishing with this reel, which you're probably going to be, that loop of line that's going up to your stripper guide is not going to cause that loop to go back into your spool. Which, again, if you guys know that, if you guys have been fishing spinning reels for a while, that if that loop is there, it actually allows line to actually get taken up onto the spool a lot more loosely. It also allows those loops across the top of the spool that is detrimental to casting distance. It's also detrimental to your line wear, and it's also detrimental to you having a really smooth experience with your spinning reel. So that thing right there actually causes less of a gap in between the roller guide, and it also keeps the loop of line from happening right there in between the spool. One of the things that JP DeRose mentions in his videos, and I really never thought about it, is if you use a bigger knot for, like if you're a braid to fluorocarbon guy like I am, those knots, and he mentioned a couple, what I think is a smaller knot, which apparently is not, is a unity, and he says, and I understand what he's talking about, is that you would want your knot to happen somewhere between the roller guide and the stripper guide, or this roller guide here, and your stripper guide on your rod. And as he mentioned, you're going to get 6 to 8 foot of line still, depending on how long that your rod is. But reeling it into that thing, it's not a super small gap, but a bigger line, especially if your braid's a lot thicker, you're going to have that hitting that thing. And again, it is a plastic rubberish. It's a polymer, so it would go through there, but you're going to get some, a jolt when it comes through there, and you're also going to hear it. You're going to have some noise, so that's something to definitely keep in mind. But that is going to allow line to be put on your reel a lot more effectively, and also keep all the twist out of your line. Next thing is the propulsion system. You guys, so it started out as the lip of the spool, and now they've actually added a few more bits of technology. They've actually changed the angle from the spool lip to the drag knob, and it's actually more of an angle now, so you have less of a chance of getting that line looped up around there. And again, you're fishing a spinning reel for a long time, you're eventually going to get that dreaded loop across there, and that actually helps negate that. And again, so there is less space between the actual drag washer or the drag knob and the edge of the spool, so it allows for less things to get caught up on, there's no, to negate having that loop across there. Another thing is they put a super slick coating on there to allow you to get less friction. Again, less friction allows you to cast farther, and allows those loops of line, the Infinity loop, to actually come off of the line as effortlessly as possible. Last but not least, number 6 in the new technology in this new reel is going to be the Duracross drag washer. So drag washers started out as felt drag washers, and the reason that felt is still being used today is because it's smooth. It doesn't take a ton of effort to get the drag going. So then we had came into the Shimano side of things having the cross carbon drag, which is something that we've all come to love in the Shimano line. Well, now with the Duracross, they've actually taken carbon fiber, basically the fibers, and instead of having it smashed together and have that stuff everywhere, kind of like Velcro, This stuff with the Duracross is taking the cross carbon drag and basically put it on steroids and weave that stuff in a pattern so you can get more of a a known pattern of that drag washer. So basically it's like having the smoothness of felt, but all of the the rigidity and stuff that we have come to love with the cross carbon drag. So all the other stuff that you're used to in this reel, long stroke spool, the rigid support drag, Hagane body, Hagane gearing, which you're talking about, that cold forged aluminum gears, still getting that in here, silent drive, X Protect. Again, all the stuff that we've come to love in the Stella, you're getting those plus the 6 that I just mentioned. Again, infinity cross, infinity loop, infinity drive, anti-twist fin, Duracross, drag washer, and the propulsion management system. So the moment you've all been waiting for. What is my absolute opinion of this reel? Again, I've not had it on the water. This is a Shimano sales sample of the Stella FK, which is brand new. It was just released a few weeks ago, and you guys saw my video earlier in the month, basically doing just giving some ideas of what was coming out, and that was the Bantam and this new reel and some new baits and stuff. But now I finally got my hands on this thing. One of the first things that I noticed is that the drag nut feels absolutely solid. I love that. There's very micro, it feels very micro tunish, so you can get really, really intricate on how much drag you want. I love the way the sound comes off when the drag is running. Hopefully you guys can hear that. This is a C3000XG, which is a higher gear ratio. This thing is going to come in a 1000, a 2500, a 3000. It's going to come in a 4000 and a 5000 at this point. The 3000, 4000, and 5000 are all XG, so they're high speed or high gear ratio. You have a 1000 and a 2500. Again, as you guys saw in my videos, the C in the Shimano spinning rods or spinning reel side of things, just means you're getting a deeper spool, which allows a little bit more line capacity, but you're getting the same body size as a 2500, which is, in my opinion, a huge game changer. Obviously, the paddle handle, really like it. Has a really nice little metal addition here to the paddle wheel. Really love that. The smoothness of this reel. I don't have it on a rod. This thing just reels for days. And really, I'm really torquing on that thing. It's got a little bit of wobble to it, but I am really reeling this thing. If it was on a rod, it would calm down. You never know it. So if I held it a little tighter, you can actually see it there. I mean, absolutely butter smooth. They did raise the price on the Stella FK. This thing is $749, I believe, right now. Shipping end of March, if I'm not mistaken. My absolute opinion of this thing, do I think it's better than the 2018 Stella? Yes. What's the weight? Well, this weight is actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 0.2 ounces heavier than the other one. You're not going to notice it, guys. 0.2 ounces. So everything is really good. Love the features that you're getting. Again, infinity cross, infinity loop, infinity drive, anti-twist fin, Duracross propulsion system. You're getting all that stuff brand new in this reel. I love that the line is going to lay super flat. Do I think I'm going to find these in my arsenal? Absolutely. Do I think they're better than the Stella that was released in 2018? Again, I can't say that enough. I do believe it. I like the look of this reel better than the old one. I think the other ones had kind of like some gold accents and a few other things in there. This thing feels more sleek and streamlined. Absolutely the Lamborghini of fishing spinning reels, especially on this price point, especially at this size. Brand new for 2022, Shimano Stella FK. Again, guys, if you guys want to get your hands on one of these things and you're local to me, go up and talk to Greg at the tackle box. Get your hands on one of these things. You are going to want to feel this reel to believe it, because I can promise you this is one of the most bad to the bone reels I've ever had in my hands, and I guarantee you they will be in my Stratus before the year's over. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, and if I helped you out a little bit, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to hit that 4,000 subscriber mark by the end of this year, and I can't do it without you guys. So again, Thank you guys for joining this episode of On Another Line. If you can, get out there and lean on them. We'll see you next time on Another Line.